What's up, Farm Fam? So, here we're going to be talking about how to use social media to grow the farm business. So, social media, not for likes, but to grow the farm business. If anybody grows food, can you give yourselves an applause? Thank you, food growers. So, farming is a hard business, and social media, we're moving to the future, is a lot of the solution. So, who's on social media? Show of hands. Who's interested in how we could use social media to fund the farming? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about. First of all, why should you listen to me? What do I know? So, my name is Travis Wu. Not everybody wants to talk about money, but we're going to be talking about money, so I think this is my authority. Since 2016, I've sold 200,000 through social media, and that's all online digital products. And that allowed me to move into volunteer farm working and then full-time farm working for the last full 2 years now. So you could do much bigger numbers than this if you want to do it full-time. Couple cool things about this sort of a number. Unlike farming, there's no capital cost here. There's no land. You get a website up in an hour for under $100. You're leveraging the internet. You don't need to be there. You don't need to pay a lot of labor costs. There's no weather. There's no variance. That can be a part-time thing, and it can make it a lot easier to be a farmer because farming is hard. So some more information on that. What have I sold? I have a book. It's called The Food Life. Trainings, courses, ebooks, especially memberships. So the thing that's been the best for me, I'm share this with you, and I'm going to share examples of people who are way more successful as me as well on things that our organization is doing. But you sell a membership to, and I'm not going to go into what that niche is. It's unrelated to farming. 95% of you won't know what that is. But you sell a product for $97, not just one time, but monthly. And if somebody sticks around for a year, it's $1,000. If they stick around for 4 years, it's $4,000. So that's the main thing. We'll talk more about Facebook groups and how you could sell a product like that as a farmer. And just so you know, right, most of the money that I've been making online has almost nothing to do with agriculture. A little bit of it is between the book and then posting on social media, telling people to come to the farmers markets that I work at. So I'm going to be sharing theoretical application, but things that are proven to work, and also giving you examples of people already in the industry doing this sort of a thing. So let me tell you a little bit about our organization, Kahumana Organic Farm and Cafe. We do a lot of things. We're a farm. We grow food, we sell food, we're a food hub, we buy and we sell food, but we also have other streams of income, banquet, fundraising dinners. We see a lot of that, farm to table dinners where you've got a silent auction and maybe speakers, stuff like that, and we use social media to promote that. Farm tours, kids tours. Maybe we use email outreach for a lot of that, but you take a picture afterwards, post it on social media, let the teachers know. And we've done, in the school season at the most, like over $5,000 a month at times. So if anyone wants to make numbers like that, that's possible. Retreats, weddings. So a thing to think about with farming is that the actual farming itself is such a hard business. We have the seasons that you're going to be losing money. You can think about the farm business itself being a loss leader for these other things that you're doing. So we'll talk about how to sell more food, but if you're growing all the food and selling all the food, how do you raise profitability? Well, you can sell events and education and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really interested in growing local food systems. A Joel Salatin-ism is belts plus suspenders. I think it's fine that we have these giant growers, but what if the boats don't come? We should grow our own. We were growing 50% of food in backyards in 1950, and the government supported that, and I think we could get back to that pretty easily. If we have more local food systems, we reduce the carbon cost of food travel for people who care about the environment. We increase the freshness of products so people will be healthier, and improve lifestyle. A lot of people want to get back to gardening and farming, We're seeing that with the advances in AI, all the truck drivers, all the checkout workers, all the call center workers are going to need something to do. People are going to want to come back to growing food. So that's going to be good. Okay, so what's the problem, or what are the problems with farm businesses? Local markets are small. Farm business margins are slim. You sell a carrot for $4, you spent $2, $3. Capital costs are crazy high. Land is so expensive. Tractors super expensive. It's so expensive. You need loans. You need government grants. Labor is expensive. It's super high labor, especially if you're doing organic. Utilities are expensive. The cost of water and energy. Small farmers, we're lacking lobby power and ad spend. We can't be in front of everyone. We don't have these huge advertising budgets. And the weather and seasons, right? So you think about it, we love to farm, we need farmers. It's a horrible business model. It's so hard, there's so much wrong with it. But we have to do it anyway, so we gotta find ways to make it work. One way is government grants, and that's amazing. But let's talk about another way, social media. This is part of the solution. I'm not saying it's the whole solution, but it's a way to increase awareness and demand for good local products. It's a way to grow the supply of suppliers, which you can profit off of, and is good for everyone, increase volume of sales and margins. So what is really social media? One thing is collective power. Advertising has changed a lot. You don't need to spend so much money to get a TV ad anymore or be in print. We all have our phones, and if we all get out our phones and start talking about the same thing, everybody's gonna know about that thing. So that's pretty cool, we can all do that. Also targeted marketing. So advertising, if you're in advertising, has gotten way cheaper now. You could run a Facebook ad to this pin, and people within a mile, and anyone pulls out their phone and goes on Facebook is going to see that. It costs $5, so you go really targeted with your advertising. So social media is sweet. So sort of big picture strategies of what we're doing. One is increasing demand for good food or local food. We want people to know, hey, local food is better, or it's good, or how do we do that? One thing with social media is it's aesthetic, good food, it looks good, it's hashtag food porn. You can share the health benefits, like get a spectrometer and measure farm fresh eggs versus Costco eggs, see what's better, share that, share the lifestyle benefits. The local food thing is just pretty aesthetic. And then increase local awareness. Once people have a demand for, hey, I want good food, where to get it. So let buyers know. A lot of your marketing is how they can get it. We're going to be at Waianae Farmers Market. We're going to be in town. We're going to be, we have a CSA program. We supply restaurants. Just getting people to know how that they can get it is an important thing. And social media will help out with that a lot. So this is what I'm really interested in, is increasing supply as sort of a mission, like recruiting more farmers, and that's this book, The Food Life. I didn't bring any, I was supposed to bring copies, forgot to bring them, but we should have more growers. We're gonna need more growers. We'll probably get more growers as people are replaced by robots in other sectors. And that's a lot of the solutions to fixing things that are wrong, I think. So I'm sort of interested in that. And how do you do that? Well, people are in their offices, people are in traffic, and the farm life is really cool. It's sort of a rock star thing. You go out and be with the sheep, or go out, be on the land, or pulling carrots. People see that through social media, and they're like, yeah, I want to become a farmer. And then you can profit off of people who want to become farmers. This whole emerging industry, although it's really not new, but with social media it's taking it to the next level of people, hey, I want to learn how to grow cabbage and pickle it too. Well, here, let me sell a membership course. Or I want to learn how to raise pigs and make pork from it. Well, here's a course. I'm going to show you how to slaughter and butcher and do all these things. And you can do retreats, you can do memberships. And again, those sorts of things are, the margin is super high, right? There's not much cost associated with that. Just some time, but not even necessarily that much time either. So tools at our disposal, strategies, how to use them. There's not going to be enough time to go into everything. There's not going to be enough detail to go in depth into the things I do go into. Just in your mind, imagine or guess what. I have one platform I think is basically the best for this sort of a thing, raising profits for farm businesses. If you guess what that is in your mind, and then also not just what the platform is, but what the specific feature of that platform is. So, how many people guessed or thought Facebook? Did anybody think Facebook groups? Maybe one person, right? So Facebook groups isn't on a lot of people's radars. Facebook is pushing Facebook groups really hard. I don't know if any of y'all saw the NFL, like at the halftime show, there was like Facebook groups banners in the background, the advertising. And Facebook's recent update, they said, hey, we're pushing Facebook groups, we're pushing Facebook personal posts, we're pushing Facebook ads. Why do people like Facebook groups, and how can you use them? Well, we're tribal, we want something to belong to. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the very bottom is basically shelter and money, and then the second thing above that is belonging. And more than any other social media, Facebook groups gives you something that you can belong to. People will pay a lot of money for networking, and people hate fear of loss. They hate to be kicked out of something because they didn't pay. And Facebook groups is a multi-billion-dollar industry right now. So let me give you some examples. One example is I tried to join the Farmers Union Facebook group, but there wasn't one for the main chapter. I found this one on the east side, and this is my recommendation to the president or whoever's, and specifically whoever's in charge of enrollment. You have a Facebook group, and that's a place you can meet other people, and you can post, hey, I'm getting to the convention at this time, I'd like a ride, or we should carpool, right? And you market that as an additional benefit to paying the $50 or the $25 to sign up. And then when it comes time to enrollment, you make a Facebook and post, say, hey, if you haven't paid and you want to support the group, please do that. You can take steps even further and look at the list and say, send out messages and say, hey, I noticed you're in the group and you didn't pay your dues this year. Would you like us to remove you, right? So that's one example of basically a recurring payment Facebook group. So there's a bunch of different options, like you could have local eaters if you had a Facebook group that was like organic food Oahu, and then you got 10,000 people in there. That could be really valuable. There's a lot of things you could do with that. If you have a CSA-based farm, you could put all your CSA members in there so that they can meet each other, and that would mean it's more likely that they're going to stick around because they get to know the people, and it's becomes sort of, you could post about events, and you can run polls like, what do you want in your bag, stuff like that. Most people are on Facebook now, right? Or you could have your niche farming education. So some examples of that. Here, let me show you this one when we come back to it. There's a man named Richard Perkins, and he has this regenerative agriculture book. It's not even out, and I'll show. We're going to talk about that later. But he pre-sold it for over $1 million, like the ebook plus the book, and he has a $150 a month monthly prescription, or euros, or it's about $1,000 to get the course. So you can have something like this if you establish a niche, and yeah, I mean, what's the cost here is the time of creating the course one time and then marketing it. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, so you can use it to sell food if you're not selling all the food that you're growing. Use this to do that. You could sell advertising, so if you had a group that was like a bunch of people and it was organic food, and someone says, hey, I want to post about, you know, Veggie Fest or whatever. It's like, yeah, it costs this much money to post about that. You know, sell education, sell memberships like we see. So yeah, Facebook groups are really powerful. Me personally, that's where 90% of my money has been made, and a good amount of the marketing as well. So the second thing I would say, Facebook paid ads. One thing to think about a Facebook paid ad is what are your customers' lifetime value. For example, if you have a CSA business and they pay you $30 a week for their box, and they on average stay for 2 years, then their lifetime value is $30 times 50 weeks is $1,500 plus 2 years, $3,000. Say that your cost to get the box out is half of that, so your customer lifetime value is $1,500. then you know that you could spend $1,000 to get one customer and it would pay you back over the next 2 years. Although ideally in advertising you want to get 4 for 1 ad spend, so maybe you could spend 400. And up front it's like there's no way I could spend that much money, but if you consider like what's going to come back to you, it could be worth it. And why Facebook ads? They can get really cheap if you're good, and it's not that hard to learn. But you can target the location. You can target people just in your zip code. So if you have a restaurant or you have a CSA pickup, you could target. I don't know if there's a way to target exactly like restaurant owners. There might be. You can target by income level. So you target people who make a certain amount of money. You can target by people who are interested in organic farms in Hawaii, something like that. And the nice thing is it works without you. You put in money, you might want to check it a couple times a week to make sure you're not wasting your money, but Facebook ads, basically what I've done is mostly Facebook ads selling Facebook groups. But there's a lot of other ways to do it. We're going to look at some of this. So Facebook pages, not really worth a whole lot of time. So Facebook says, we're going to prioritize groups, we're going to prioritize paid ads and personal pages, and we're going to deprioritize Facebook pages. You can still have a Facebook page for branding, and when you post on Instagram, click share to Facebook, but you might, if anyone has a Facebook page, you notice you're just like not getting seen that much. And when I got out of college, I was like, Facebook pages were big, so I grew a Facebook page, and then they killed it in the algorithm. You have to pay money just for people to see, your followers to even see your posts. So this one isn't worth spending a lot of time on. It's fine to have, but it's not very important. So Instagram, the cool thing about Instagram and farming is it's visually pleasing, right? Good Food is aesthetic, but also the story feature. Like Instagram really pushes the story feature. Farming is a really cool story. It looks good over a day, so you can do that. I haven't made a lot of my business through Instagram necessarily, some of it, but our organization, it definitely helps us posting the things that we're doing so people can find out about it, the events that we're running so people can buy the tickets for the banquets or whatever, the markets that we're at. Instagram has a tremendous amount of attention right now. Anywhere there's attention, it's worth being. So Instagram's a good one. You don't need to do all of these. You can pick a couple things that work well. So YouTube is interesting. And YouTube is definitely not for everyone. YouTube is for people who want to do YouTube because it's so much work. It has a couple really nice things though. One thing is you trust and knowing and liking. People will want to buy from you in marketing. Trust, knowing, liking is super key. There's some idea that, if someone spends, 1 hour watching your content, they're willing to pay $100 in your product or something like that. It's not, the exact ratio is unclear, but basically, if people are watching your YouTube videos, they're more likely to support your business. And YouTube is long form content, unlike this other stuff. You can put out 15-hour-long videos. Someone's gonna watch the whole hour, and you're best friends already, right? And then another really nice thing and unique about YouTube is the discoverability. The shelf life of most social media posts is like 2 days, right? But YouTube, it's years. Like I just typed in Joel Salatin, hour-long content from 8 years ago. People are still clicking on that. So you could have, if you had a really specific YouTube strategy, like if we were trying to push our weddings, like best weddings on Oahu, you make a video about that and put Kahumana #1. Or you could have, best places to eat, or you could do, if you sell an educational product, how to pickle, grow cabbage, and then you give some teasers, or how to do worms, and then you have a worm course or something like that. This one is probably the most work of all of them, but it has the most potential to grow by itself and be like trees that, the other ones you stop posting and then no one hears from you ever again. But with YouTube, they will still find your videos. Email's old technology now. It's 30 years old, but 25 years old? Something like that. It's still pretty powerful. The newsletters, or you can go targeted, like if you're doing outreach, you find people's emails and email them. A cool feature is automation. So if somebody signs up for your list, like here, let me give you this free, so 3 free tips on biodynamic farming. And then you could have an automation where it sends over the next 14 days, it sends like 7 free trainings, and then maybe it advertises your course, and then more free trainings and testimonials, and then like a flash sale, and then more free trainings. And that's another example of anything that you can build one time and continues to operate and can operate without you is a wonderful thing. Another cool thing is that with emails, you own your list. This isn't really much of a fear, but they can delete your Facebook account or your Instagram account. They can't delete the list of emails that you have, so that's something that you own. And then funnel marketing, I don't know if you've ever seen, you have like a Facebook ad and then you click on it and there's a free training, but you have to put in your email, and then you go sit and watch a webinar and there's some free stuff and they try to pitch you on something. Well, email is really important for that because it's a way to just continue to follow up with someone. And yeah, so email is cool. Oh yeah, crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is interesting. It can be a good way to build hype to pre-sell a product. I mean, it can be a way to just take donations, but if you think about it as a way to like generate a lot of hype and excitement over a new release or something, a new product or something, it can be great. So 2 nice things that social proof plays off of, or that crowdfunding plays off of. One is social proof. So you go to somebody's crowdfunding page and see that all these other people have donated, you're way more likely to donate. Another thing this plays off of is social status. People, yeah, okay, I want to support you, but people want to be recognized for their contribution as well. So when you donate on one of these Kickstarters, it shows your donation, and then if you're running one of these Kickstarters, you can shout them out on your other social media, and they're like, wow, and then it's going to trigger donations from people who are interested in the social kudos, which is a lot of people. So here's this example that we were talking about. I guess I think, was it an Instagram ad, Andre, that you saw this? So this guy's name is Richard Perkins. As far as we can tell, okay, he lives in Sweden and they have a tiny little farm there. It can't be very profitable, but he's a millionaire celebrity off of what he's done on the internet. If you want to look at what he's done, you can search Richard Perkins Kickstarter. He's got testimonials from like Joel Salatin, Alan Nation, all these, farm celebrities. And he's still not even released yet, and he's raised 4 million kroners, which is $1 million. Is it that's half a million? Okay. Saleh is from Sweden. So. But yeah, that's a lot of money and a lot of that's not even for the book itself, it's for a PDF, right? And he's gonna still be selling this in 5-10 years too. So yeah, that's the power of Kickstarter and education. And for all we know, his farm's not even profitable, right? Like, I mean, all his products that he sells how to make small farms work, and it could be just teaching them farms this stuff too. Okay, so yeah, there's emerging tools and other options. Most of this stuff is new. There's going to be new stuff in the next 5 years we don't even know about now. There's other tools I didn't even talk about, like Facebook Messenger bots is a new hot thing. LinkedIn is supposedly really good. There was Snapchat, but maybe that's not so popular. A lot of the younger generation is on TikTok. Can't imagine how that will relate to farming, but could be. But yeah, it's good to stay up on this stuff and know anywhere attention is a place that you can get your marketing, especially if you do it for free. So yeah, I guess a lot of my recommendation for people looking to take something from this is becoming a localized expert, like establishing a specific niche. It can be a really small thing. It doesn't even have to be profitable necessarily, but like something that you're good at, that your farm does especially well, your flagship product. And then also with that becoming a niche on social media, you don't need to do all these things. You could pick one thing and do it well. You could have one awesome Facebook group, or you could have one awesome Instagram page. I mean, if you have time and you have the specialty, you could have, it depends how much labor you want to put in, but simple is good. Focus on that. So yeah, my goal for the future and what we do with social media and a lot of how we sell farming is make farming cool, right? It's like the rock star thing. Everybody wants to be a farmer. Not everybody can be a farmer because the business side of things is so hard. A lot of people want to be gardeners though. If they can't be a farmer, let me have my garden that I come home to in the evenings or on the weekends, and that's a big part of things too. Make local fresh food, cool thing that's more available and more people know about, know where to get it. And then I would love to see in my lifetime local food becoming a significant percentage of the food economy in the USA. I heard that local food markets doubled in the last not that many years, 2 years. From what was the number, like 1 to 2 billion or something like that, and the number's bigger.
It was I think 60 billion to 140 or something.
60 billion to 140 billion. Also, the number of farmers markets has doubled in a similar amount of time. So this is like a big emerging industry. A lot of people want to come into it. It's a good time to be teaching people, or however you want to make use of this. So Q&A time. If anybody wants to reach me, pictures would be good, or if people want to just follow up and have any questions and say, hey, this is what I'm doing for my farm business or my social media, what do you think? If anybody we have some time, if anybody has some questions.
Yeah, so, when developing one of these training programs, these agricultural schools, do you recommend kind of trying to find a niche area that you're teaching in one kind of field, or doing more of a general farming thing, which is inclusive of, maybe even bees or aquaculture, or would you recommend keeping it small?
Yeah, so Kyle's question is it better to be, if you're selling a product, better to be more educational product, better to be more niche or more broad? For anything, it's always better to be more niche because you can become the expert on it, and you can serve the exact specific person's need, because someone wants to, like bees, I want to learn how to do, honey, and people have really specific wants. I imagine you can make a whole school full of niche trainings in there, but for anything, it's good to serve a small people with a specific desire. Anybody have a question?
I noticed in social media in general, like you could do your social media more organically and natural and more realistic, like really representing the realness of what you're doing on your farm, what you do in your life. And then there's all these kind of ways to
Hey, my brother, please come up here, talking to Mike so we can hear you.
whatever word it is, kind of like gimmicks or whatever that you could pull off to kind of make more followers. What do you recommend as far as balancing that out?
Repeat the question, Trav.
Yeah, okay, so he asked, basically you could be more organic, or you could use more like hacks and tricks to generate attention. I would say both. Like, you want to have good content and put out something real, but also if you're putting out good content and something real, it's not going to automatically reach everyone. So it's worth knowing like what hashtags to use, or it's worth knowing insights of what time of the day is better to post, or it's worth knowing an advertising strategy around that.
And that's from experience, you would say, mostly?
From my experience, but also seeing people who make it big, or like the people who make it big, a lot of the time they use tricks and they use hacks.
Just say, knowing those tricks and hacks, do you think that comes from experience, or do you think there's courses and whatnot?
Yeah, the whole online social media education thing is huge. Like, personally, I've spent a lot of money on a lot of different courses teaching this stuff, and it's online education just on like internet, it's probably how to use social media is probably multi-billion, and I mean what university education is like $1 trillion education, and with the internet, a lot of people are choosing not to go the conventional route and sign up for these trainings anyway. Because what kind of university is going to teach you, step by step how to butcher a hog, right? Like you have to go to a niche specialist for that, and then you're also willing to pay a lot because no one else is offering that. Anybody have any other questions?
What do you think about Craigslist?
Yeah, Craigslist. I didn't mention Craigslist, but I know people, so I can't say that much. I don't really use Craigslist, so I can't say that much about it. I know that you can run Craigslist ads. I know that it's good for local listings. Agriculture application, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really speak on that.
Level of business, just say as far as incoming profit, would you advise, or when do you think you should bring someone in to the team for marketing?
When should you bring someone in specifically for marketing? Well, I don't know that it needs to be someone's. I think that really depends. I mean, farming, depending on where you are, like if you have seasonal farming, you have 3 months to do that sort of a thing. Hawaii is a little bit different. You don't necessarily need to have someone who's like, this is my job, is to all do the social media stuff. Probably only if you got really big. I mean, it's important to have someone whose job is like, I'm going to make the sales, but that doesn't even need to be the full thing that they're doing. Yeah, I think that really depends. It also depends on the personnel, or if you have someone who has a specific plan that they want to put into action. But I think, for example, like the Richard Perkins guy, I think it's just him and his wife and their kids. And so they don't have, he's just in the evenings working on his book or whatever, and ran a little Facebook ad and made all that money. I mean, it's not actually a lot of work what he did. Writing the book is a lot of work. The marketing doesn't have to be. It's just you get the testimonials, put up the page, and run an Instagram ad, and that all sort of happened. He probably spent not even an hour a day on that part of it. Yeah. Anybody else? Thought or a question? Or you can keep asking.
Well, just this is the field I'm the worst at with technology. So I'm wondering, what have you seen? You hear these stories about something becoming big overnight, or just something viral, like blowing up. What are those qualities that make something so popular right now? Or is it the product itself?
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like you see people who seem to blow up overnight. How does that happen? Okay, well, I mean, first of all, they're probably like growing quietly without getting a lot of attention for a really long time, establishing themselves to be an expert. But you do see people who blow up in attention seemingly overnight, like they're everywhere within a year, right? How do they do that? Well, one way that's done is by basically, so if you run Facebook ads to a product, and you're good at measuring how much it costs to advertise and how much your customer is bringing in, then you know exactly how much it costs to whatever, right? And basically, there's situations where people basically go infinite. They put in $100,000 and they get out $200,000. So they put the $200,000 back in, they get out $400,000. They put the $400,000, they get $800,000. And then in over a year, they went from nothing to millions. And not just millions, but generated this massive amount of attention as well. I haven't succeeded in that, but I know people who have, and there's lots of examples of people who have.
Did you touch on blocking?
On what?
Blocking.
Blocking?
Blogs.
Blogging. Did I touch on blogging? Blogging is sort of old technology. It seems like a lot of blogs have moved to Instagram. So, and Reddit. So blogging is sort of social media, but if you look at the sites that people are frequenting and the apps, it's the social media apps. So basically, what is blogging? Well, blogging is basically writing, right? So where are the longer writing posts going? Well, they're going to Instagram. You can write your long caption. They're also going to Facebook page posts, or not page, but personal page, like a personal Facebook page. Facebook will show those to all your followers. They show it really high, and that's a good place to host it. Actually having like a blog website. So one thing to be aware of is like most of these social media will punish you in the algorithm for sending people off social media. So if I'm on Facebook and I'm posting a lot of links to my blog, Facebook's not going to show those links to that many people compared to if I just posted that blog hosted on Facebook. The same with Instagram, same with YouTube. If I'm trying to convert people from YouTube to my website, YouTube's going to punish me. So I think the best place is to host all your content is generally going to be in the social media itself, and then you can occasionally push people from somewhere. Does that answer that? Christian?
So in line of that exact question, where you're talking about how if you're taking people from like one social media to another, so like on Instagram you can click the button like, oh, post to your Facebook. Is that Instagram gonna like negatively impact you for that, or is that like a partnership between the two where they encourage that?
Yeah, so, well, Facebook, the question is, when is that beneficial, pushing people in between social media? Well, in this case, Facebook owns Instagram, so yeah, there's a lot of synergy between, like if you add someone on Facebook later, I think they stopped doing this, but they said, hey, you may know this person. Or if you add someone on Instagram, they start popping up as friends you may know, and so on. So in the case of sending people back and forth between Facebook and Instagram, they're probably happy if you're doing that. But in general, like, they want people to stay on their platform and not leave. So if you can do that, like if your Facebook group has lots of, an example of that is if you have a Facebook group and you have YouTube content, instead of posting a link to YouTube, you post that YouTube content into the Facebook group or onto your Facebook page, and instead of people leaving the platform, they're going to spend more time on it, and then Facebook is going to boost your page or boost your personal profile or boost your Facebook group, and then send more people your way. And it's not that you can't send people to other social media, but an example, I was just in August, I was in Las Vegas, and I was staying with a bunch of these YouTubers who had like 3, 4, 5 million subscribers, and they're making all this money off advertising, and they sold no product. They had no product. They had no link offs. Their videos were like 21 parents you won't believe exist, or like, clickbait stuff. Or these 10 pictures look dirty but aren't. And there's just gaming the algorithm to keep people on social media, and then YouTube would send millions of people their way because